Canada is a large country in North America and is known today for its natural beauty, multicultural society, and peaceful image. But Canada's history is long and complex, shaped by Indigenous peoples, European explorers, wars, agreements, and gradual growth into an independent nation. To understand Canada today, we need to look at its past step by step. Long before any Europeans arrived, Canada was home to Indigenous peoples for thousands of years. These groups are known today as the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. They lived across the land, from forests and plains to mountains and the Arctic. Each group had its own language, culture, traditions, and way of life. Some hunted animals, some farmed, and others fished. They had strong connections to the land and believed nature was sacred. Indigenous societies had systems of leadership, trade routes, and laws long before Canada existed as a country. The first Europeans to reach Canada were the Vikings. Around the year 1000, they briefly settled in a place now called L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland. However, this settlement did not last long, and Europe forgot about North America for many centuries. Later, in the late 1400s, European explorers began searching for new trade routes, land, and resources. In 1497, John Cabot, an explorer working for England, reached the coast of Canada. This marked the beginning of European interest in the region. In the 1500s and early 1600s, French and British explorers arrived more frequently. France became especially interested in Canada because of the fur trade. Beaver fur was in high demand in Europe for making hats. In 1608, Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec City, one of the first permanent European settlements in Canada. France called its colony New France. The French built trading posts, formed alliances with Indigenous peoples, and explored deep into the continent. Life in New France was difficult. The weather was harsh and farming was challenging. The population grew slowly, and most people lived along the St. Lawrence River. The French government controlled the colony and sent soldiers, priests, and settlers. Catholic missionaries tried to convert Indigenous peoples to Christianity. While there was cooperation through trade, European diseases caused great harm to Indigenous communities, killing many people who had no immunity. At the same time, the British were establishing colonies along the Atlantic coast, especially in what is now the United States. Britain and France became rivals in North America. They fought several wars over land and power. These conflicts were part of larger wars in Europe. Indigenous groups were often forced to choose sides or were caught in the middle of these battles. The most important conflict was the 7 Years' War, which ended in 1763. Britain defeated France and took control of most of New France. The Treaty of Paris officially made Canada a British colony. The French population was allowed to keep its language, religion, and laws, especially in Quebec. This decision helped avoid rebellion and shaped Canada's bilingual and multicultural future. After Britain took control, Canada changed again. In 1776, the American Revolution began. The 13 British colonies to the south fought for independence from Britain and became the United States. Many people who stayed loyal to Britain, called Loyalists, fled north to Canada. They settled in places like Ontario, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Their arrival increased the English-speaking population and led to new towns and farms. To manage the growing and diverse population, Britain passed the Constitutional Act of 1791. This divided Canada into Upper Canada, mostly English-speaking, now Ontario, and Lower Canada, mostly French-speaking, now Quebec. Each area had its own government. However, real power still belonged to British officials, not the people. This caused frustration among settlers. In the early 1800s, dissatisfaction grew. In 1837 and 1838, rebellions broke out in both Upper and Lower Canada. The rebels wanted more democratic government. Although the rebellions failed, Britain realized reforms were needed. As a result, the Act of Union in 1841 joined Upper and Lower Canada into one colony called the Province of Canada. Over time, Canada gained responsible government, meaning elected leaders had more control. During this period, Canada's economy grew. Farming expanded, canals and railways were built, and trade increased. Canada also avoided becoming part of the United States, even after the War of 1812, when Britain and the US fought again. Canadians developed a stronger sense of identity and loyalty to Britain, but also a desire for self-rule. By the mid-1800s, the idea of uniting British colonies into one country became popular. Leaders believed union would bring economic strength, better defense, and political stability. In 1867, the British North America Act created the Dominion of Canada. The original provinces were Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. July 1, 1867 is now celebrated as Canada Day. After Confederation, Canada continued to grow. Other provinces and territories joined over time. Manitoba joined in 1870, British Columbia in 1871, and Prince Edward Island in 1873. The government encouraged settlement in the West by offering land to immigrants, especially farmers from Europe. The Canadian Pacific Railway was built to connect the country from east to west, helping trade and settlement. However, this expansion came at a high cost to Indigenous peoples. The government forced many Indigenous communities onto reserves and signed treaties that were often unfair or broken. Residential schools were created to force Indigenous children to abandon their language and culture. Many children suffered abuse and neglect. These policies caused deep harm that still affects Indigenous communities today. In the early 20th century, Canada became more independent. It fought alongside Britain in World War I, 1914 to 1918. Over 60,000 Canadians died in the war. Canada's sacrifices earned it more respect internationally. In 1931, the Statute of Westminster gave Canada legal independence from Britain, although it still shared the same monarch. World War II, 1939 to 1945, further shaped Canada. The country again supported Britain and the Allies. Canadian soldiers fought in Europe, and the economy grew through war production. After the war, Canada became more confident on the world stage and joined organizations like the United Nations and NATO. The post-war years brought major changes. Canada built a strong welfare system, including public health care. Immigration increased and people arrived from many parts of the world, not just Europe. In 1965, Canada changed its immigration policy to be more fair and inclusive. This helped create the diverse society Canada is known for today. In 1982, Canada took full control of its constitution from Britain. The Constitution Act included the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which protects basic rights such as freedom of speech, equality, and religion. This was a major step in Canada's independence and democracy. In recent decades, Canada has faced challenges such as Quebec's independence movement, economic changes, and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. The government has officially apologized for residential schools and is working toward healing and justice, though much work remains. Today, Canada is a peaceful, democratic country known for tolerance, diversity, and strong public services. Its history includes cooperation and conflict, growth and struggle. Understanding Canada's past helps explain its values today: respect for different cultures, democracy, and human rights. Canada's story is still being written, shaped by the people who live there now and those who will come in the future.